What's up, you guys? Welcome to Critique the Critics, the show where we make fun of movie critics, and today we're talking about the movie Child's Play, the original. We found a critic's review, actually a recent review. We're gonna read it through together and then pick it apart and make fun of it, because critics are terrible. If it's your first time here, before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button and that little bell right next to it. You can get notified that way every single time we have a new video out, which is very, very often, at least twice a week. That being said, let's take a look at this critic's review. Movies like Child's Play make me nostalgic so long as I'm not actually watching them and being forced to assess the magic they've lost. It'd be funnier if you said, so long as I'm not watching them. Just left it at that. I'm really nostalgic for movies. As long as I don't have to see it. Just the idea of knowing that it was in my past is enough. But no, we get what you're saying. It lost its magic because you probably saw this when you were a little kid. Or it lost its magic because so many things have come after that. The first time you see Child's Play, and then there's like 7 other Child's Plays, and then on top of it, how many other movies have dolls that are coming to life? So yeah, one of the first ones is gonna not really have the magic anymore. In the case of this kitty slasher pick, wow, that sounds awful. What ended up hitting the screens was so much more generic and tepid than what was initially imagined by gay horror screenwriter Don Mancini. Emphasis on the gay, because that's important. You know he was a gay director because Chucky's shirt's rainbow. Why did you say he was gay? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It has no bearing on anything. And if you make a point at some point, it's probably gonna thoroughly piss me off. Like, what's gonna be the reason? Why? Because it's another man inside a boy? Is that what it is? Because if that's what it is, if I called it, I am so uncomfortable right now. You did say kiddie slasher film. So you'll have to forgive me for resorting to a deflective personal diary. I don't have to forgive you for anything. You started this whole thing in a way where I don't have to forgive you at all. Also, that's like saying no offense or I'm not racist, but if you actually combine like no offense, I'm not racist or whatever, it's like, I'm not racist and no offense, but I don't like black people and especially you. It's like, dude, that solved nothing. Yeah, I'm very offended and you were quite racist. I'm sure Child's Play was far from the only film of its era sold as one of the greatest scare shows of all time. Yes. That's how you sell things. How many times have you heard that, like, the movie trailer guy be like, a movie you've never seen before? All the time. It's how they sell stuff. It's like not saying this is delicious about food that you're trying to get people to buy. And then when marketers don't do that, they always have some like meta commercial or something where they're like, we could say how delicious our chili is, but we don't have to. It speaks for itself. And they're still saying it's delicious by not saying it's delicious. So yes, many movies have sold themselves that way. I remember TV commercials for the film using the old trick of showing people exiting the theater besides themselves with terror. Yeah, it was a common thing that people did. Also, a lot of people left the theater that way. The man on the street thing hasn't stopped since. There's entire YouTube channels that do that. There's entire segments on late night talk shows that do that. It's the only thing Jay Leno did well. Some man with a mullet grinning as he consoled his weeping girlfriend. You wanted to come, you wanted to see it. There is never a good time or place to say that, especially in public and while wearing a mullet. You wanted to come, you wanted to see it. And after, only after, will I unlock the door. Dude, mullet guy, not cool. As an impressionable 9-year-old, the gimmicks were still new to me, and hence I allowed Child's Play to enter my consciousness as the ultimate test for horror. Indeed, the scariest movie of all time. Yes, as you should. You should show up thinking you're gonna get scared, especially when the commercials have people walking out of the theater talking about how scared they were. That's how it works, right? I had been tentatively making inroads into horror, which was already fast becoming my favorite genre, but hadn't really moved far beyond the musty likes of Universal monster movies. I was even still reeling from my misguided exposure to Night of the Living Dead a year or two earlier. I mean, I guess you can kind of compare those movies to a Child's Play movie. They have a similar sensibility and a similar need for your imagination, for sure. But at the same time, there's something to be said for, like, I guess the creep factor and interest of like an old black and white style movie as opposed to a modern movie. Your expectations are significantly higher watching a Child's Play movie that came out in the 80s as opposed to watching something that you give a little bit of a leeway to because you know it's old. So you're like, yeah, the creature of the Black Lagoon does look a little weird, and that's clearly not his foot because it's going when he walks. But you let it slide because it's old. But by the time I finally got around to facing down Child's Play, a rote thriller in which the soul of a serial killer inhabits a boy's talking doll and kills 2 or 3 people, I'd either desensitized myself with a number of other far scarier movies, likely, or discovered that it just wasn't very scary to begin with. If you give 2 options and then while you're giving the 2 options you say which option is true, there aren't 2 options anymore. If you're like, it's either this, which is likely and probably an answer, I mean it's pretty much that, or this, it doesn't work like that. It just makes me think of like a scene in an action movie or whatever. It's like, you got 2 options. You tell me what you want, and you stay alive, which is what you're gonna do, and what you should do, and what's gonna happen, because I read the script, or I kill you right here where you stand, which isn't gonna happen, because I really need that information. And honestly, this movie's not gonna move along unless you do the other one, so yeah, let's just run with that. 2 options. So what are you gonna do, punk? The first one? Or the second one? In retrospect, it's clear to me that the Chucky movies didn't really take off as a series until writer Don Mancini let his allegorical impulses surface post Scream with Bride of Chucky and later Seed of Chucky. You know, the 2 poorest rated movies out of the entire Child's Play series. Are you f***ing kidding me? They get the worst ratings and reviews and comments of all of them. I like them, but most people don't. Right up there with the It's Alive movies for accurately suggesting parents fear their children might be gay. What?
That's the allegory.
So you're telling me all of this was leading up to Seed of Chucky, where their child, who's a doll, who they're not sure what gender he is or she is, and they're fighting over which gender he should be, that it was literally all leading up to that. Which is really strange because it keeps going, so it can't be leading up to that and then like just leave that because it's gone. They left it now. There's 2 other movies after that, so that can't be exactly where they were going. That broke my brain so much. Or are you saying that that's in every single Child's Play movie? That there's some sort of underlying kid saying that they're gay to their parents thing? Like Andy wanted to tell his mom that he was gay all along, and that's why a serial killer ended up in a good guy doll that was trying to kill him? Or not kill him, but put his soul in his body? Is it the man going inside a boy thing? I don't understand how you got gay out of any of this. And if you did, and it somehow made you like not homophobic, then great. But if you did and you are homophobic, well, f you. That's mean. In contrast, the first 3 movies were by the numbers slasher fare, in which the homicidal force of evil didn't attack through victims' dreams, pace Freddy Krueger, but rather via their kneecaps. Haha, get it? Cause he's short. Dee Snider memorably scoffed about the series on some cable network horror countdown. Just step on him. Did you watch the first movie? They try the crap out of killing him. Everything you can think of, they attempt to kill him. You have limbs coming after you. One of the movies, he's able to put his head back onto his body. It's not just a matter of stepping on him just because he's short. Also, is that how you're gonna treat your gay son? Just step on him? The second and third resorted to creative gore and gallows humor, but the original seemed to be aiming for pure terror and missing. Not according to all those people coming out of the theater. Yes. Mancini has said his original script made the doll's murderous impulses much more intertwined with the dark fantasies of children. Maybe he'll get his chance to test out that theory when he remakes the film next year. Until then, Child's Play is only a shade more terrifying than Teddy Ruxpin, which is terrifying. Have you seen a Teddy Ruxpin? Or have you seen a Teddy Ruxpin that isn't working properly?
It's so hard. Why do I go?
It took Don Mancini 10 years to bring the Chucky franchise to its current homo glory, but the original Child's Play is pretty gay? What are you talking about? Are you just using gay and homo in like a derogatory way? Or do you actually think that there's some sort of underlying gay kid telling his parents that he's gay coming out theme? What? Did you accidentally rent Child's Gay? Oh, well, thanks for watching, guys. I guess put in the comments any version of an explanation of why this could possibly be what this is about, because we don't get it. Hope you enjoyed our show, and if you've never been here before, don't forget to subscribe. You can follow us on Twitch as well. We record these videos live, and you can actually hang out with us live while we're doing it and throw things in the chat, and sometimes they end up in our videos because we all like to have fun and be funny about whatever this nonsense is. Man, I'm sorry I'm a little taken aback about what just happened. I did not expect that review to go that way. Till we see you guys next time, geek out and game on. Game on.